Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Monday, May 15th, 2023. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Monday, everyone. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. Right now, a developing narrow 6-day range. Very, very narrow on the indicator here. Additionally, you have the narrow 6-week range that has developed since the beginning of the new quarter. This is Q2's range right here, which is about as narrow as it gets. We've had a bit of an expanding range here, but we've been stuck at the center of that range over the last week of trading, which means at some point we got to go test an edge. It's either going to come up here, test a new edge, and fade back in, or we come down here, test an edge, and fade back in. So at some point here, we got to get away from this narrow range here at the center of this larger distribution and then go find an edge to go test. This market has been unwilling to see expansion and really has been able to shake off weakness as well. So it hasn't been as easy to push this thing down. It's been much easier to squeeze it and keep it in place. So we'll continue to watch the edges here, but for the most part, this narrow 6-day range here could be looking at about 150 points of movement up ahead. 150 points. For example, if price were to drop into 40.50 plus 150, takes you right back to 4,200. That could be a play that could be ahead. Similarly, if this thing comes up here to 4,200 and fails back down, we could be looking at about 150 point range up ahead. So that could be ahead. This week is heavily focused on Fed speak. Fed Chair Powell speaks on Friday. We have Fed Chair Barr testifying here throughout the week, other FOMC members, so a lot of Fed speak come out. Could be some headline risk up ahead. If we take a look here at the ENQQ, you'll notice right now the ENQQ has been holding near the highs of the recent move here. Big time bullish price action, but we're now sitting right above the top end of the range. So you have this range here, or perhaps better, the top of that range there. You got the bottom somewhere in here. And at the moment, we have this 3-day narrow range that has developed up here at these highs, just above the previous month's highs. And so any failure here could rotate price back within the range, but we have seen higher lows, and we have seen, after weakness, price squeeze very easily. For example, you see over a week's worth of selling pressure here, and in one day, you squeeze all the way back to the top of the range. Or weakness, 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 and in one big day takes you back up again. 4 days of weakness, one big squeeze here, and here we are back sitting on highs. So this market has been outperforming. It has been very bullish. We are coming up to the previous year's midpoint, which is going to be a key level to watch here. That's this pink line up here. And any major rejection there could open up a bit of a pullback to value down below, which would be around 12.5. So again, keeping an eye on the 3-day narrow range here. A failure could open up a bit of a rotation, but any pullback could see a fast squeeze right back to highs. Taking a look now at crude oil. Crude oil here trying to find a strong low. It had a couple of rejections here over the last 2 days here that looked like they were developing some pretty solid rejections, only to fail by the end of the day. Today we're seeing more of the same. We've seen a pretty decent reversal off the overnight lows. Can price hold on to these gains as we've remained in a 4-day downtrend here? This is a big time retest around the 70 level, and the idea is after this strong low and reversal back up, we're looking for a follow-up higher low that can take us back to the center of the range, 76 to 77 up above, with a shot to finish across the range at 80.5. So right now, watching for signs of rejection down here at the moment. It's been hard to find a rejection that can hold over the last few days. So we'll see if we can find a strong low here early this week, which could be an opportunity to reverse this thing back up. Taking a look now at gold futures. If you look at gold here, this thing has remained within this range here for some time. We talked about the 1980 to 2060 range, 1980 being right here, 2060 right there, and prices remain mostly within that range. We're currently working our way down within the range, and we could be looking at a test at 1980 up ahead. If price gets into the 1980 to 1960 zone, that could offer a great fade opportunity back up within the range. Right now, this market has been able to maintain these price levels for a while. And only a failure here, a failure of 1960, can open up a failure of market structure and rotation back down. But until that happens, any drop into that zone could be faded as we stay within the range. Taking a look here lastly at the YM. The YM has been trending lower. This one has, you can see the stark contrast here between the NQ and the YM, or even the ES. The ES is way up higher within the range, near the center of the range. This one has been leading lower. Very bearish here. On inflation day to day, we put in a pretty strong high that has continued to hold right here. We've seen the FOMC day provide a great level here that's been resistance, and we are seeing some rounded behavior on the top end of this range. So any pullback could lead to a failed new high or some sort of lower high that leads to a drop down. Any push to 33.2 starts to open up some downside price action. So things could get interesting here if this one wanted to get outside the range. But given how the others have stayed within range, watching for perhaps the opposite here. Maybe a squeeze back to the center as this thing continues to hold. So if we come down here and test an edge, perhaps we get a move back toward the center of the range up above. So we could be looking at some decent movement up ahead, perhaps something along the lines of 1,000 to 1,300 points of movement. But we need a strong low first of some sort. So keeping an eye on this as it continues to build out early this week. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this develops the rest of the week. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.